Hello, parents and guardians of our little readers. I am Jennifer Fiscalessa. I am a scientist, a mentor, and a mom, but I am not a certified um, toddler reading expert. I did not have a degree. I did not get a degree on early childhood education or like reading. It's just simple ways that I realize that just take 5 minutes out of like a busy schedule. So um, when we had our oldest daughter and she was 2 and life was just crazy. I was doing I was finishing up my PhD. I was working, I was teaching, I was mentoring, I was wifing and just doing everything. It was crazy and commuting like almost an hour, and like I couldn't spend like hours and hours with my little one, but I was making intentional like 5 to 10 minutes just like of like focus time, and just like through like playing and just like daily activities, I was surprised that I was actually able to teach our oldest how to read before she turned 3. In fact, on Christmas Eve when she was 3 years and 2 weeks old, Tita was very sick. I was just feeling tired. We had a Christmas present there. We're like, oh, what should we do? Like, oh, do you want to? And then like, do you want to open our presents? She's like, yeah. So we sat in the living room, and she went under the Christmas tree and she started reading our name. She'd be like, SHAWN, Sean, Daddy, this is for you. Like, okay, open it. Then she goes, JEDY, JD, mommy, this is for you. And she did the same thing for Taylor, and that's like, oh wow, that's awesome. And so we were doing this through two simple ways, letter sounds, and then reading every day. And our reading every day, it started off just like at night, the evening, as part of like the evening routine, but then we started incorporating also like during the day, like during breakfast, during lunch, during like during like nap time. And so those two are powerful ways to teach kids how to read, exposing them to words, reading books, exposing them to like words, and then having them like learn their sounds. It means when they come across a word they don't know, they can just like sound it and at least like be able to like read it out, and they can also try and look at the context. And then so those two are like powerful things. And I know it's very challenging to like find time to read to your little one every day, but I think the challenge also comes because they're like, oh, it has to be this big thing. But just 2 to 5 minutes of reading every day is fine. You don't have to finish a book. For us, actually, like for a moment, my kids like could like sit and like touch and turn a book. Like we would never like read the book fully like every single night. They would want to go back and forth. They want to skip some pages. They'd want to stay on some pages for a long time. But the key is, in every time you read a book, have like one big takeaway. So for example, like yesterday we're reading a book it's called Paw Patrol Rescue Wings, and just like talking about, I think so, and then also as we are reading, you want to ask them a question. Just like, oh, so what is this, what is that? So we talked about like the parachute. We talked about what else we talk about, a couple of things. So like let them have like a takeaway. And then I also try to connect whatever the takeaway is to like their daily life. So for example, the parachute, I'm like, oh, so parachute. So for example, have you been in a parachute before? I haven't been. And we just like talk about that. I ask them questions, like they get to kind of like talk about one like that thing for a while, and it actually stays with them. So we didn't finish reading the Rescue Wings of the Paw Patrol book, but we read a couple of pages and we actually go to discuss. Like that's really powerful. And then you do letter sounds. Okay, so I'll talk about letter sounds in the next video here. And I have I also want to ask a couple of questions that a few parents here had actually asked.